What up, YouTube? I'm back again, representing Brooklyn. Yeah, I'm not actually I'm not actually a hockey fan. I slug. But anyway, we're gonna get back to this new school series of reading. It's very easy. You just pick up the book and you start reading it. And today we're gonna talk about Rule 3. We're talking about Rule 3 of the Federal Civil Judicial Procedure and Rules. And these particular rules are which makes the federal court system work. So you have to know the rules. It's not a game. The word game is actually from the word jamming. The G and the J is actually the same. If you look at the G, they just took that wiggly, the J, look at the J, and see how it's made. And if you continue to take the loop and put it around, you'll have the G. You can see it, right? What'd he say? He said, look at the J, and the J and the G is the same symbol, but they just stretch it. And they use pliers because they liars. Did he say that? Yeah, I did. Sometimes, I have to remind you of what I'm saying and remind me to tell you again. But anyway, we're here with the new school series because people say, what is a new school? It's not a new school. No. This is new to us. The Bible and the Constitution is now called the Bible Constitution. And the Constitution Bible, which is CB, we could say CB, Constitution Bible. Yeah, because if we take it right to left, then it'd be Bible Constitution. If you take it left to right, it'd be right. So anyway, the third rule is the commencement of action. So now, we done been through the first rule, which is the scope and purpose of rules. And it tells you what these rules is applicable to and what these rules is applied to, how these rules can be used, where they can be used at. We found out that these particular rules is used in America, in the United States, not the territories, right? But not certain districts and courts. The 50 states, basically. These particular rules, right? Now, the second rule was one form of action, and this action was called a civil action. So now I had to take you back to where I come from, and that's where the Bible is. That's the spiritual rule, right? And then from there you had your kings, and then from your kings, well, first you had your prophets who proved the existence of a higher power. And they proved it not for the women, because the women had pains and crafts, so they always had the signal of pain. So they knew about it was other forces. But man and his spoiledness had to be proven of what was going on. So that was done. And there was laws set up, and these laws basically tell you, don't do this, don't do that. Actually, if you do anything out the camp, just like that, we're gonna kill you, man. Okay? From those laws, the prophets, right? And from the prophets came the Levites, Israelites, Midianites from Abraham. And what happened was, then they started administering what was said. Then the people said, well, you know what, we want you, the prophet, but we want a king. Right, so then they got their kings. And the kings had their laws. Okay, all laws that's used today is from what they call Hammurabi. So Hammurabi, the codes of Hammurabi, you can go and look at that. We still talking civil laws from the kings and with the king. Now with the king, in this particular incident was the 13 colonies, and they got released from England. So basically they had no way of understanding how to have a kingdom, as I say, or a nation. So what they did, they the Indians helped them in everything they did, from how to eat, how to protect themselves, and this is why you have your Thanksgiving Day. But 6 Native American tribes basically helped establish what they call the Constitution. When the Constitution, one part of the Constitution is basically the judicial system, and that is to make sure that the legislation that's made by the senators and the congressmen is held, and then you have your president, the one that's presiding over all of it. So you have your Supreme Court justice with this particular, what we're doing now. These are their rules that they learn. Once you learn this, then you could become a more active person and more sure. But the way they got it, right, because there were 13 colonies, is from the Iroquois League, and they got it or wrote it from the clan mothers who represented and gave and exalted the chiefs, which were men. They appointed them to represent them because they was always behind the scene. And the other women that was great, all women is great, but the ones that's great is the ones that was with the Hebrews. They was always behind the scene, on top in the temple looking down, upstairs, separated. And then in Islam, the women was in the back looking in the front. So women always played a part, but as men protected them, they started putting them closer and closer to being a hostage. And that's why they say they're the host of the house, because the word host was actually short for hostage. And the word hostage and age, host and age, host and age. Age was AGE, which was the time that they put them in there, which was actually GEA or GEO, which is GEO, which is actually represent the earth that they are. They are the walking earth, because you plant your seed in them just like you would plant your seed in the ground. You see, we're made from the dirt, and as they breathe, they recycle the earth and the dust particles that you do not see because of the way the system is. They put pictures on the wall, so your mind is going to pick that, pick true, or picture, or through pick that. So you're looking at pictures. You don't see the atmosphere. Actually, you don't see what's before you. They call it the atmosphere because they keep you at most time in fear. But the third rule is the commencing of an action. And it states that a civil action is commenced by filing a complaint with the court. So if you have a problem, you have to take it to the court, and they will handle the problem. And that's the third rule to the federal civil judicial procedure and rules. These rules is how to deal with society at large, how to understand where you are, and to have mobility. And like I said, we just learned 3 rules within a half an hour. Imagine what we can do in a year. As I said, we're going to continue to do this. I want to give a shout out to Red Hook and Red Hook Projects, Brooklyn, New York, South Brooklyn, and a shout out to Webster Project, South Bronx, New York. And both of them is my home. One was my first home. The second was my new birth home. So I want to give everybody in the Bronx a shout out, and thank you for having me up in there and protecting me while I was there. And I want to give a shout out to Octavia, Goddess up there. And like I said, we're going to make this happen, and we can all make it happen. Just revise what we don't like, make a change. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. We're going to get to the next section. I'm ready to go. I'm out of here. 1.